Right when I think Finding Carter is getting back to what they need to be, this happens. Hey guys, it's Kevin again, and I really don't want to talk about this episode for that long, honestly. It's my review for Finding Carter, Season 2, Episode 9, I Knew You Were Trouble. This is probably going to be as short as my review. It's not going to be as short as my review for something to talk about, but it's not going to be a long review. It's not going to be like last week's episode, which was a very long review. And here's why. This episode, the thing about last week's episode that worked so well is how self-contained it was. It was very self-contained. We got introduced to Madison. It stayed, canon to the story. It still was part of the story, but it wasn't weird. It wasn't crazy. It wasn't convoluted. Everything just felt, natural in that episode. The comedy I loved. Everything about last week's episode I loved, and this week's episode started off really good. I really love the way it started out. But as it went on, it got crazier and crazier. There were some things I really loved about this episode, but then there were some things I'm just like, what? Seriously? That's where they have to go in? Let's talk about the biggest thing with this episode first. First of all, Carter wants to talk to Lori, of course, this episode, because she thinks that Lori killed herself, and she wants to have a talk with her. Great. Here's the thing, though. The story would be a lot more compelling if Carter could actually do this, because legally, Carter could not do this. And I didn't realize this. Someone actually commented on, I think, the Find Carter Facebook page and said that this is unrealistic. There's no way Carter could, go to a mental hospital without her permission, which is true. Carter is not 18. She is 17. If Carter was 18, then yeah, I might be interested in this. But Carter is 17, so legally she can't go to a mental hospital by herself and confront Lori. So right away they're fucked. What they should have done, what they could have done possibly, maybe Carter calls Lori, or maybe she goes with Elizabeth, but obviously that's not going to happen. And I mean, there were people she could have probably gotten in touch with. There probably were people maybe she could have called Max's parents, because Max went with her. Max, though, is still not 18. He's not 18. He might be 18, I'm not sure, but I don't think he is. At least. He could have called Max's parents. I mean, she should have gone in with someone. She can't just go by herself to a mental institution. It's just, she's not the right age to do that. So right away, that didn't work. I will say I really love the way they handled it, definitely. Her and Max, going together. I thought that was handled well. Where it got silly is when she actually confronted Lori, because it's just the same thing as episode 4. I mean, at first you think Lori might be actually better, and maybe she, she's telling Carter, leave, I don't want to see you anymore, I've made my decision, just leave. But then we realized, and then getting the whole doctor involved, I thought was ridiculous. Her talking to the doctor in general was really stupid, and him talking to her, that would never happen. Seriously, her talking to the doctor is like so unrealistic, and I didn't like that at all. So that's because of how realistic last week's episode was. I mean, last week's episode was very realistic. I mean, it makes sense. Carter wouldn't want anything to do with Madison. I like that, definitely. And also, I love the scene where she did tell Madison and Max what was going on, because that is something they need to know, and I really like seeing Madison again. It's something I liked about this episode a lot. But her confronting the doctor, it just really didn't work. And here's the thing. We eventually realized this is all rehashed. It's the same stuff. Lori wants Carter to tell her she loves her. Lori wants to be with Carter. She wants to get closer with Carter. Give me something new! Seriously! There's nothing new to this storyline. It's the same stuff every single episode, and that's boring. Honestly, there's nothing new to it. I'd like at least just something new. Something. Can you come up with something original? I really appreciate that. I would definitely appreciate that, I have to say. I would really like that. So basically, Carter gets nowhere with Lori. She leaves Lori, and, she's really upset at what happened, everything, and I'm just like, that's what we've been waiting for. Honestly, for me at this point, it just seems like with Lori, they just don't know what to do with the storyline. They're just randomly putting her in episodes so that way they can do something with her, and that way she has something to do. That's all they're doing to me. That's all it seems like. It doesn't seem like they're legitimately giving her a well-thought-out story. There is some very good stuff with her, though, I will say. They're not involving her, but involving Madison, which I will talk about, but Wow, that it really didn't work, I have to say. That storyline, it could have worked out much better than it did, but it really didn't, especially when you just realize that Lori just tricked her suicide. I honestly don't care if Lori committed suicide or not. Honestly, I really don't care, because, and here's why I don't really care. Because it's the same stuff. It's nothing new. If Lori had legitimately committed suicide, I think it would have been a much better storyline. I think it actually would have been compelled by it. It's nothing interesting at this point. It's just rehashed, and that's nothing new, obviously. So I really not like that. The biggest thing about this episode that everyone's complaining about is, of course, her and Max. Okay. I love these two as friends. I've always loved their friendship. Can we not make it a relationship right away? I'm going to say this right now. I don't think they're making this a relationship. I really hope they don't. Let me talk about why I think they did this. First of all, them kissing. Now, I thought this was going to be maybe Max comforting her in the heat of the moment. That's exactly what it was. Them having sex in his car just didn't seem like they were their characters. That seemed completely out of character for them. Him kissing her, maybe to calm her down. That I would have liked. Them having sex, I thought was stupid. I really did. I mean, talk about ways to make Taylor more angry at Carter. Because she already was angry at Carter. Because Taylor, this whole beauty pageant thing going on, which I was talking about, and it felt like a completely different episode when we got to that. But basically, Max and Carter, they don't talk about it for the rest of the episode, which I thought was really stupid. It just randomly happens. They don't talk about it for the rest of the episode. So, that's done, I guess. Again, if this would have just been him kissing her in the heat of the moment, I mean, she was crying and crying, he's kissing her to calm her down, but them having sex, I just thought was stupid. I would have liked for her to say thanks, I needed that, and then maybe move on from it, and if they would have just at least talked about him and Taylor or something like that, then I would have enjoyed it, but they won't even talk about it. They just sit in the car, and, I thought that was really... Yeah, I thought that was really stupid that they just don't talk about it. They talk about how she feels, but, I like that she did say that she knows he loves Taylor. I like that, and that, she loves him too, even though he's not ready to admit it now. I'm just like, what? Seriously? No. If they are writing this as Carter loves Max all this time, that's really stupid. Again, why aren't you thinking about Crash? Like, that's what you should be thinking about right now. You should be thinking, okay, Crash didn't work out, maybe it's not time for me to have a relationship. And I personally would love to see Carter single. I really would. Because everything with Carter is just relationship. And if they are doing this, I think it's stupid. And the worst storylines Finding Carter has are relationship storylines. They don't work. I mean, Taylor and Max, the reason that worked so well is because they worked well together. And this, I don't think, is working at all. I really hope they don't go in this direction. This episode, however, I really did enjoy. And it felt like a completely different episode, I have to say. Stuff going on with Madison and Bird, I really like that. And also things going on with Taylor and the beauty pageant. Let's first talk about Madison and Bird. I really like the twist that Madison is actually an informant for Lori. She basically was summoned by Lori. The reason she came back is not just because her parents left, but also because Lori told her that she wanted to come back in order for her to connect with Carter. So, she basically realizes she got played, and I really like that for Madison. I was really hoping she'd come back, and that, I think, is a brilliant twist. If the rest of this episode would have been the other two plots, I would have been fine with that. And there's this whole, country club dinner that she was supposed to go to, that Carter was supposed to go to for Taylor, but obviously Carter's not showing up, so Barry decides to take Madison, and these two actually get very close, and they start to relate to each other a lot, which I can understand. I mean, thinking about Bird's parents abandoned her, Madison's parents abandoned her, and in the heat of the moment, they realize that this might be a date, and Bird starts to think, you know what, maybe I like this, maybe I am a lesbian. I thought that was really interesting that she just goes for it. She kisses her, and, she says, well, this is the first date, so she kisses her. To me, I don't think that Bird's a lesbian. I think she is just confused right now. I think that's really what it is. I mean, yeah, she's been, doing things with guys and flirting with guys. This is the time for her to experiment, though, honestly. when you're a teenager and you're confused like that, it's good to experiment. So I like that Bird is experimenting. I think that's really what Bird is doing. Someone like Bird who's just confused about themselves, because some people are like really confident about their sexuality. Bird, I think, is someone who's just not as confident, I don't think. I think she thinks she is, but maybe she's not as confident as we think she is. And I actually really do like that storyline. So maybe this will get Bird to maybe come out of her shell a little bit and maybe try this relationship out with Madison. I don't think much is going to happen there because obviously Carter needs to find out what Madison did. And Bird said right away you need to tell Carter what you did, but you know, I'm interested in seeing what's actually going to happen there. I guess we'll have to see. I'm really interested in seeing, you know, what's going to happen, and it seems like these two are going to date now. What I basically think is going to happen, you know, now that these two are going to date, is that basically they might try out something, and I kind of just like Bird experimenting. I think that's well done. But other than that storyline, I will say the Joan, Elizabeth, and Taylor storyline felt completely different from the rest of the episode. It really did, and I really did like it. It had the fun part of the last episode. When Kyle came into the story, it just got really unnecessarily dramatic. Like, I get it, Kyle. You want back Elizabeth. Her and David, yeah, they are working things out. That doesn't mean they're together. And Elizabeth, I want you to talk to me. I can understand that. She doesn't want drama right now. I can totally understand. I mean, she's worried sick about Carter. She has this whole thing going on with Taylor. I can totally understand where she's coming from there. I really like Joan and Taylor and Elizabeth interacting. I thought that was kind of fun to see. I really like the way Taylor was in this episode, though. She was the only one that was really concerned about Carter, which I was like, how is Elizabeth not concerned about Carter? Like, she's okay with her just going into a mental institution to see, like, this crazy person, and Taylor was upset about it, which I actually like seeing Taylor have a brain in this episode, which is something I think she hasn't had for a lot of the season. Especially after last week's episode, she definitely developed more of a brain, and here, I like that she actually, you know, said to Elizabeth, well, we should, you know, be worried about Carter, and I was happy she was upset with Carter, because she should be upset with Carter. Carter should have gone to this beauty pageant again, because Carter can't legally go to a mental institution by herself, because she's not 18, so you know, maybe if Taylor would have brought that up, maybe that would have concerned Elizabeth. But obviously, Taylor's not bringing that up. And that storyline never really went anywhere, honestly. Never did. And I like that Elizabeth said that that, you know, the Carter had an attachment to Lori, and she has to accept that, because it's true. But here's the thing. The only reason Carter is concerned about Lori is because she's worried that she caused it. That's really what it was. I don't think it was so much that she is attached to Lori, or more in the sense that she was just concerned about Lori. Obviously, she tried to kill herself. What do you think she's going to do? It's not going to be, you know, something where she's just going to forget about it. And it just seemed really out of character to me. So, I like this stuff going on with Kyle and Gabe as well. I thought that was well done, with him talking about how close he is with Elizabeth. But Elizabeth just doesn't really want to be with him right now. Again, we didn't see any of the fun Elizabeth and David like we did in the last episode. I would have wanted that here, and we really didn't get that. The thing about last week's episode is that they had Kyle in it, but they played it for laughs. They didn't make it this dramatic stuff that this episode was. It didn't work. It was stupid, and I didn't like it. So overall, guys, I half enjoyed this episode. I really did. The Bird and Madison plot I thought was very well done. I definitely really enjoy it. I like seeing Bird kind of struggle with her sexuality. I think that's well done. Carter and Max, I don't even want to get into. I did like that final scene with Carter and Taylor, but, like, I just thought it was dumb, honestly. We've had so many episodes end with Carter and Taylor talking, and it's just, like, the same thing. It's like, okay, Carter and Taylor are talking, like, wow, whoopity do. Like, there's nothing new to this. It's just Taylor, you know, saying that she's upset that. And I like that Carter and Taylor did have a talk about this, but it just seemed like we could have ended the episode much bigger than we did, and we didn't. And I don't know if Taylor is going to find out about Carter and Max. I don't know if they really do have something, but I really hope they're not writing this as Carter's love Max all along. It's stupid. It's dumb. Don't write it like this. I don't like this at all. I think this is a dumb twist. I think it should have just been heat of the moment, friends helping out friends with, you know, maybe like a friends with benefits thing. That's all that happened. That would have been fine. If they write it as, oh, I love Max all along, that makes no sense whatsoever. These two have been friends, and Taylor Max said something. That's really stupid, honestly. It just seems like the writers don't want to get these two back together because they want to give them more drama, and it's stupid. It's not working. Especially because Taylor, I'm really liking his character. Max, not so much. Max, I like in that he comforted Carter, but the fact that he was okay with it and actually did it, I thought was really stupid, I have to say. I mean, If he would have just kissed her, maybe Carter would have pressured him to. That might have been more interesting. But he would have been like, no, no, we don't like each other like that. We're just friends. I think that would have been more well done. Elizabeth and Kyle, I don't give two fucking shits about, honestly. I don't give two shits about their plot, because it was handled so much better last week. They could have handled it as a fun thing, and they had an opportunity to do that, and they really didn't do that, and that really pissed me off that they didn't. So overall, guys, let me know what you guys saw of this episode. I'm very interested to see your thoughts on this episode. Honestly, it seemed like this episode was very mixed for me. Definitely one of the more mediocre episodes. I mean, I really hope they make an episode like last week's. Last week's episode was so much better than this. It was so much more self-contained. It had a lot more fun to it as well. No Grant in this episode. Maybe that's what it was lacking, was Grant, because Grant was hilarious last week. I like Joan. I will say Joan was funny. I thought that was great, but, you know, I still love it. I love that they're giving Joan more to do, but it just seemed a lot more dramatic when it didn't have to be, and I really did not like that. So that's basically my review. Hope you guys enjoyed. Let me know what you guys saw this episode. Overall, guys, I really like this episode. I'll see you guys in our next video, which will be for another classic movie review, and I will see you guys for that. Okay, bye.